All throughout time, the relationship between a celebrity and a fan has always been an interesting one. Celebrities are constantly on display through mediums such as televisions, films, albums, and more. It's natural for fans to develop a close relationship to them as they fall in love with their characters on screen or relate to a song that they wrote. A normal assumption, though, would be that fans know the difference between fantasy and reality, and understand that while they may know that celebrity in depth, that celebrity probably has no idea who they are. But what happens when the wrong person becomes a fan? What happens when that fan will do anything to catch a celebrity's attention? And what happens when that fan takes their love and turns it into a deadly obsession? That's what happened in 1996 when Icelandic singer Bjork caught the attention of 21-year-old exterminator Ricardo Lopez. Ricardo would stop at nothing to make sure Bjork knew his name, and his actions led to a race against time to save the young singer's life. This is that story. This is the story of Bjork's stalker. In order to understand how Ricardo Lopez's fantasies turned into an obsession, it helps to have a little background on who he is. Ricardo was the son of a middle-class family who came to the United States from Uruguay. He was an extremely bright kid in school, but eventually dropped out to become a famous artist. To support himself, he worked part-time as an exterminator for his brother's company. By the time Ricardo was 17 years old, he had become isolated from the world and engulfed himself in the work of Bjork after seeing her video Human Behavior. At first, he just had a crush on her and was a fan of her like most. However, as time went on, it would slowly turn more into an obsession. 3 years into Ricardo's obsession with Bjork, he learned that she was involved with the musician Goldie, and it absolutely aggravated him. Quickly, Bjork turned from someone Ricardo wanted to love to someone he wanted to hurt. At the top of 1996, he decided he was going to devise a plan to kill her. For his 21st birthday, he purchased a camera to document his thoughts and plans.
Testing 1, 2, 3, testing. My name is Ricardo Lopez. Today's my birthday. I'm 21. Bjork has been an incredible part of my mind. I've started with a crush, and ended up with an obsession, which I'm not embarrassed to admit. No, it's an obsession. I'm just gonna have to kill her.
There's about 20 hours of recorded footage, and as you watch it, you see Ricardo slowly getting more and more content on killing Bjork. It became his dying mission, and he was meticulous about each step. He treats the camera as a confidant and takes you on a ride to understanding his thought process. At the start of the footage, Ricardo documents the early phases of his plan. He pays $5 to a celebrity company to get Bjork's address, figures out how he's going to hurt her, and thinks of every way his plan could go wrong. His initial plan was to send her a box that would shoot needles into her skin and contaminate her with HIV-positive blood. He later scratched the idea, feeling it was too complex, and thought of something way more sadistic. He decided to send her a book that, once open, would spray sulfuric acid all over her face. For those of you who are unaware, sulfuric acid is a corrosive substance that is destructive to the human skin and can even cause death. To get her to open the mail, he attached a letter stating that the book was going to be turned into a movie and that they needed Bjork to do the soundtrack. Ricardo thought out every aspect and worked diligently for 9 whole months. One of the biggest parts of Ricardo's plan was that he could not get caught. From the very beginning of the recording, he believed that the only way he was going to get away with this was if he were to unalive himself at the end. Throughout the footage, Ricardo also explains the exact reason why he felt he needed to kill Bjork. It wasn't the fact that Bjork was dating someone that angered him, it was the fact that that someone was black. To put it simply, Ricardo was a complete and utter racist. He referred to black people as the N-word multiple times in his video and said some really derogatory and nasty things. The thing that's interesting about Ricardo though is that he was actually extremely self-aware that being racist was bad. It's just that he didn't care. He liked the feeling that making bad decisions gave him, and that's a major theme throughout the footage. He completely understood that Bjork didn't know who he was and that he had no right to do what he was gonna do, but he ultimately didn't care. He had already made up his mind the day he bought the camera, and at that point, there was no turning back.
The whole gist of this whole thing is that I don't have to do this. Okay, there's not a little voice in my head, there's not something that's, I'm not trapped up against, the corner and have no other way but doing this, okay? I do not have to do this, okay? And I've even contemplated thinking, wow, man, am I really gonna do this? The reason why I'm going to do this is because I want to do it.
One of the few moments that we see Ricardo getting emotional is when he describes coming from a loving and stable family. His family did try to confront him about his mental state, but he lied through every conversation. He ultimately didn't want to get caught and was adamant on fulfilling his mission.
I mean, my mother has a love for me that, it's truly bewildering. I mean, of course, every mother loves their son, but it's.
On September 12th of 1996, Ricardo headed to the post office with a .38 caliber revolver in his pocket in case anything went wrong and he had to unalive himself or others there. Luckily, nothing happened, and after he mailed the bomb, he began the final act of his plan. He painted his head red and green as a way to depersonalize himself and put on a Bjork song titled I Remember You in the background. Ricardo then grabbed his revolver, pointed it to his head, and pulled the trigger before falling out of frame. 4 days after his death, the manager of the apartment complex saw blood dropping out of Ricardo's room and alerted the authorities. Police found Ricardo's 4-day-old body as well as a camera with a videotape labeled The Last Day. The police went straight to the last tape and confirmed the death was a suicide. As they continued watching, police soon realized that they only had 1 day to stop the mail bomb from reaching Bjork's home. Luckily, the package was spotted at a post office in South London and was intercepted before ever reaching Bjork's doorstep. A few days after Ricardo's death made mainstream news, Bjork went in front of journalists to explain how she felt about Ricardo's death. She stated that she was saddened by the situation and was more worried for her son than anything. Interestingly enough, she also sent flowers and a card to Ricardo's family. Many mainstream outlets reported that after Ricardo's death, he had failed his mission as his mail bomb never got to Bjork. However, when you really think about it, getting the bomb to Bjork wasn't his real mission at all. Ricardo understood very early that the likeliness of the bomb actually reaching Bjork was slim to none. His true intentions were that he wanted to emotionally affect Bjork and have her think of him. On December of 1996, Bjork told a magazine, quote, "I just think it's very, very sad. The guy obviously suffered, but I have to say that I'm emotionally healthy enough not to take it personally. But still it affects me, and I cried and I couldn't sleep for nights, just thinking of his face. It's really, really sad." Once you understand the true intentions of Ricardo's mission, it becomes glaringly apparent that Ricardo did succeed in his goal. Bjork knew his name and was emotionally affected. In a really twisted way, it's exactly what he wanted. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, it would be forever appreciated if you liked, comment, and subscribed. To be notified when a new Flashy video is up, feel free to hit the bell button after subscribing. For more Flashy content, make sure to follow Flashy Magazine on Instagram. That's all for now. Thank you guys again for watching, and we hope to catch you with the next video real soon.